how many of you, you saw these slides, how many of you have right next to your desk bottles of wine in a cooler that keeps the wine at just the perfect temperature? All you have to do is slide your glass over. While you're answering the phone, press a button, you get a perfect pour. Angie is no dummy. You know, it's rare. It's really rare, and we know this. It's really rare when you have someone who's a visionary, who also can organize a team and execute perfectly. And we are blessed to have Angie and her team with Travel Safe. What an amazing concept, and what an amazing execution you're doing. So thank you very much. I wanted to tell you, first of all, what you have in these bags. Caitlin Carey is the winery's communications coordinator and marketing coordinator. And she has done this. She has provided you each with a coupon. I know that you were fishing down at the bottom of the bag for your bottle of wine. But instead, what she's done is she's given you a complimentary reserve tasting for two at the winery in the tasting room. Just need to present that. And this is the reserve tasting, which means they get to take a Regal wine glass. Each person gets to take that home with them. Of course, Regal is the finest wine glass maker in the world from Austria. So you definitely do not want to miss that. The other thing that she's got prepared for you is a t-shirt, which is part of the way that we help those Easterners pronounce Willamette. I don't know how many of you travel on the East Coast, but it's Willamette or what, you know, all the different versions. And we say, well, can you swear? Yeah, we can swear. Well, it's Willamette, damn it. And you kind of shock them. They kind of, is he swearing at me? And then they kind of get it and they smile. And this is a great way of telling the story. I think that whenever you can combine your brand with profanity, you've got it. And then inside your bag as well is really, truly a labor of love for us. It's the Oregon story. The Oregon wine story. And this book is unique in that it is told in the words of our founders and winemakers themselves. There's no narrative in this book. What we did was we went out with a tape recorder and we let them talk. And they told us things that nobody's ever heard. You'll find those excerpts in this book. This book is a fundraiser for the medical services that are provided free to our vineyard workers, who oftentimes fall through the cracks of our services. This is what catches them, is the proceeds that come from the sale of this book and many other things that we do, like the Salute Barrel Auction. One of the largest barrel auctions in the world now is held in Portland to raise money for our medical services for our vineyard workers. But anyway, you'll find in this, because we underwrote the book, I got to write the introduction. You know how that works. So you'll find a little information more about the winery and our beginnings in this book. You know, almost any one of us could have figured this out a long time ago. All we had to do is, you know how they have the big globes in your classrooms? All we had to do is go over to one of those big globes, find the spot on the globe where the most famous vineyard in the world are located, keep a really close eye on the globe, spin it, and we could have stopped right on the Willamette Valley. We share exactly the same position to the sun as the greatest vineyards in the world. We're just on the other side of the planet. Our leaves of our vines get the same amount of solar radiation as the greatest vineyards in the world in France. And yet, it took some immigrating Californian winemakers to start our industry, and it wasn't very long ago. David Lett, a student of enology at UC Davis, had been to France. He knew that the French complained about their weather in Burgundy. He knew about the cool climate varieties and why they performed so well in Burgundy. And he said, you know, I think we could grow great Pinot Noir in Oregon. And the California winemaker said to him and his professors, you've got to be kidding. You'll never get that fruit right. It'll rot on the vine up there. Grass moss grows on those people up there. And instead, he was really one of our first pioneers. He rejected what they taught him about where to plant grapes at UC Davis. He brought his cuttings to Oregon, and he came to the Willamette Valley. He actually first went to Silverton. He couldn't buy property there. He tried to negotiate and buy land in Silverton. And instead ended up at his second choice in Dundee. And that's where the industry started. Isn't that amazing? Now, of course, people have figured out, people are planting a lot of grapes now around Silverton. But our industry really, historical terms, is very, very young. From that time, back in the early 1960s to today, our industry has grown from one immigrating California winemaker to now over 450 Oregon wine brands and over 850 commercial vineyards, producing over $1 billion in economic impact annually for the state of Oregon. That is amazing. Now here's the thing, here's the better part. We live right in the heart of this. Salem is really right at the epicenter of this incredible thing that's developing around us. And this has happened all in our lifetimes. I started 26 years ago at Willamette Valley Vineyards. I'm the first native Oregonian to build a winery in the Willamette Valley. We're young as an industry when you think of an industry that's thousands of years old in Burgundy and France. It is amazing. Now here's the thing that's kind of cool to know. If you go to Burgundy, you climb up on those hilltops and you look over the vineyards, and as far as the eye can see on the horizon, you can see vines. But you can't find another hectare to plant in Burgundy. The only place they can plant is to tear out the homes down near the villages to make more room for planting. Here in the Willamette Valley alone, we still have over 115,000 acres of land on our hillsides that's available in agriculture for growing vines. In the Willamette Valley, we have about 14,000 acres planted, about 17,000 total in Oregon. We're just getting started. Now, I've got to tell you just a few stories about, we've had some lucky breaks. One of them is how damaged French pride helped build our industry. Back in 1979, there was a Paris Olympiad competition where an Oregon winemaker's wines was entered into the competition. This is 1979. The wine came in third place. Now, the French had never heard of Oregon Pinot Noir. They didn't know what to make of this. And so one very famous French winemaker said, there's something seriously wrong with this competition. In fact, he refused to accept the results of the competition. He said, something's wrong. This wine wasn't submitted by the winemaker. The winemaker who found out he got third place in the competition didn't even know his wines were entered. They were entered by the distributor in Europe. And so that might be a reason why this should be contested. Well, this winemaker, this very famous French winemaker, made such a fuss that they had to hold the competition all over again. They held it over again in 1980 in Beaune, which is the kind of the capital of Burgundy. It's like